Welcome to a special late edition of the CK Podcast on this Friday night. I'm your host, Leo Bias. Welcome. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're talking about the new 2022 NBA champions, four-time champion for Steph Curry, the Golden State Warriors. They closed out the game last night. I was wrong. I lost a lot of money on last night's game. But those things happen. I just did not see the Celtics losing the game for whatever reason because, hey, Game 7 on Father's Day. The NBA loves drama. They love storylines. It was the perfect storyline on Father's Day. But you know what? That's what championship DNA does. And the Golden State Warriors, they have plenty of that. And that's what we're talking to Andrew Wiggins and whether or not he would make an impact on a different team, talking about his past, talking about his present, really, and what he did and what he has done for the Golden State Warriors. A magnificent series. Literally one of the best defense that I've seen in NBA Finals history since I've been watching basketball. He was so good. He anticipated moves by Jayson Tatum. He used his length, his quickness, his lateral quickness. I mean, I can go on about Andrew Wiggins. So shout out to him. Shout out to Canada. He got his ring. And we'll get into whether or not the Warriors should move on, and maybe he should move on. And maybe he can make an impact on a different team with a bigger role. Or is he content with the role, with the simplified version of what he did for the Warriors? We'll talk about that. And we'll go over some of the news that have been circulating and some of the NBA draft news that we've seen. The NBA draft is next Thursday. Had lots of excitement. So many smokescreen trade offers and, trade speculation from all over the places. That's all you're going to see in the next few days, man. And the Sacramento Kings are, as I've said, and I'm going to say it again, they're in a very good position at number 4 to make a big splash, either by drafting somebody or by moving that pick and getting a very, very good basketball player. A lot of teams want that pick, and a lot of teams want to draft Ivy if he's there. Will the Thunder surprise people, and will Banchero or Chet or Jabari fall? Either way, as I said, the Kings are in a good position. We'll get into some of the stuff that Shaedon Sharpe said today. That was funny. I'll play you guys some of that. What's up, Tyson? We're not going to hoop tonight, by the way. As you can see, this is going to be a long conversation. But before we get to the first segment, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, Captain Crab in Elk Grove. Father's Day, first time for me to be a father. Nasty, but it's good, bro. Captain Crab and Elk Grove, highly recommend them. It's a great gift for any father this weekend. It's so juicy, so fresh. This ain't heaven. I don't know what is, man. Shout out to Captain Crab on Father's Day. So definitely enter this Father's Day giveaway. You have a few hours left. I'm announcing the winner tomorrow. $50 to Captain Crab in Elk Grove. They just opened about a month ago. Phenomenal food, extremely fresh. Highly recommend Captain Crab in Elk Grove. We appreciate the partnership. We appreciate the friendships that we've made there already. And if you guys are interested, if you're a local business looking to promote your business, visit ckmarketing.info for more information. So let's move on to some of the news that have been circulating. Let's give the Warriors some love and let's talk about the game last night, right? Am I happy about the result? No, because I lost money. At the end of the day, it's never easy to lose $1,300, but hey, it happens, and that's part of gambling. Like that's why it's called gambling, right? I took a calculated risk from my experiences in the past. I thought it would hit, right? I had him 6.5. I'm surprised that one didn't at least hit, but I doubled down because I truly, truly believed that the Boston Celtics would have pulled it out, forced a game 7, and eventually lose because the Golden State Warriors are the better team without question because they have that championship DNA, right? And they just didn't have. I just feel like, talking to my cousins, Eman and Josh last night. Eman brought up a good point about them not having a Luka, a Kobe, a LeBron, an MJ type of an attitude player. He said that he felt like Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and to some extent Marcus Smart, but I mean, to me, he's not a point guard first and foremost. But Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, they acted way too cool, right? They didn't have that like fudge. Losing. We got to get her, what together. You know what I'm saying? Like that effort attitude. And even if you got to throw a tantrum, like you truly care, like that dog attitude. And I thought to myself, he has a good point because one, they ran out of gas. Like everybody in the NBA Finals is tired. Everyone to some extent is hurt. Like their body's hurting. So we can't make that as an excuse, especially being at home with your home crowd rooting you on. I just thought it was inexcusable how they started off so well and then they just gave up the lead. The Warriors just they fought back from the Avalanche and they never looked back, right? I felt like their defense wasn't really as sharp as it should have been. They allowed a lot of open shots. And, for all the analytical nerds talking about historical defenses and, our analytics, they're saying that the Celtics had the best chance to win the championship, right? Like, everything was there for them to win the chip. And whenever you squander these type of opportunities, there's no guarantee that you ever come back. Now, I do think they have a good chance of coming back, even though they do play in the elite conference, not because the Eastern Conference is a better conference than the Western Conference, without question. And it's not going to be easy next year because Toronto's on the is on the upswing, Cleveland's on the upswing. You don't know what Philly could do this offseason. Milwaukee is still championship DNA, right? You have the Brooklyn Nets, as disappointing as they were, getting swept by the Celtics. They got Ben Simmons hopefully coming back, right? Right. And then you got the Miami Heat, championship DNA, great organization. So you got the Heat. Like, there's a ton of teams that could make some noise next year, and there is no guarantee. But when you talk about Jayson Tatum and how we've been talking about him, me, Robert, I put him right there next to Luka in terms of overall talent. But I tell you what, if you swap Luka with Tatum, they win the whole thing. It's truly an unfair comparison because Luka's weaknesses would be, like you could hide his weaknesses on the Celtics, right? You can hide him as a defender and it would be all good. But they needed a Luka Doncic to just take over, put his team on his back, and find a way, will his team. Tatum, for whatever reason, we got all the memes talking about he's a fraud, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's tough. It's tough, man. So, again, I'm not giving up on Tatum. I still think he's right there. He's a better defender than Luka. But last night, they needed Luka's skill set, which is playmaking, at an elite level, and that was a huge, huge weakness for the Boston Celtics. Marcus Smart is not a point guard. I hope they can just, delete that out of their brains and be like, no, we need to find ourselves a point guard. He's good at what he does, which is being the hound defensively. But if you put him in those positions to where he is your primary ball handler, your primary playmaker, you're going to have issues. Now, if he's your secondary playmaker, if you put him in certain actions, right, I'm okay with that. But to put that much pressure for him to have to get everyone involved and still be aggressive, like he ran out of gas. And to me, it was a disservice being out there because he clearly couldn't play. I mean, he was out here flopping, saying that he got hit and where. And then Steph was getting open shots, obviously, towards the end of the game where the game was pretty much over. But he was gassed with like 6 minutes left in the fourth, and he just couldn't run no more. He was committing turnovers, and it was tough to watch. It was tough to watch because I had the spread going, and I'm like, well, at least hit the spread. They couldn't even do that, man. They couldn't even do that. But let's watch the play that I'm talking about, right?
Fakes, fires, three-pointer.
Here he is. Here he is acting. He's acting. Steph, like Steph put him to sleep, right? Again, Finals MVP. Shout out to Steph. One of the top 10 greatest players. I've been saying that for months. People thought I was crazy, right? A lot of the old heads thought I was crazy. He's stopped saying, yes, he's the best shooter of all time. We know that. That's common sense. The whole world knows that now. The person that least watches basketball knows he's the greatest shooter of all time. Stop disrespecting the man. He got 4 rings, 4 quattro. The man is a top 10 player of all time. He changed the game. He revolutionized basketball. Make no mistake about it, man. Steph Curry is the real deal, and he has a great opportunity to get 5 rings in his career, man. I truly believe that because this team, honestly, they're not going anywhere. Like, they'll have a strong chance next year to win the whole thing. Just look at the tears. Look at the excitement. The fact that, he's been through a lot. This whole team's been through a lot. And I'm a Warriors hater, but you appreciate greatness when you see it, man. And shout out to Steph Curry, man. One of the greatest players to ever live, period. Let's listen to this.
Through to focus on what could be getting back here.
Well, I had to have my big bro talk me off the ledge a few times. I couldn't drive. I couldn't do nothing. I was immobilized.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm such an athletic person. I love to be mobile. And he would just tell me, patience, patience. It's going to all pay off.
And the damn did. This clown out here, Boston Celtics 22 world champions, clown. Let's watch this one. I think there was a funny one here. They're saying F. That's funny. They're saying F Draymond.
And you about to get a bag. No. You about to get a bag. We about to get a bag. We about to get a bag. We all want yeah.
Who said we all about to get the bag?
And you about to get a bag. No. You about to get a bag. We about to get a bag.
We about to get the bag, man. Shout out to Juan Toscano Anderson, man. Becomes the first player of Mexican descent. Shout out to my man to win the NBA championship. So that's awesome. That's so great. So nice to see, man. Like, I truly am so proud of that dude. He played in Mexico professionally, so definitely goes back to his roots all the time. And we'll see this last one. It's pretty funny.
For you and your team.
I'm not going to lie. I'm hungover right now.
He's hungover.
We had a great night last night.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Incredible night.
A late night. Okay, so talking about Andrew Wiggins, let's address some of the people real quick, man. Tatum needed to channel Jimmy Butler. He didn't bring him mentally. Facts. Steph is truly him. Can I call in? Yes, Bass, you can call in, but give me 1 second. I just want to talk about culture, and then you can bounce back on what I'm about to say about Andrew Wiggins. So to answer the question of the show, would Andrew Wiggins make an impact on a different team? To me, the answer is maybe, right? There are a few teams that have the right culture in place, and the Kings are not one of those teams. Andrew Wiggins, let's go back a little bit. So Andrew Wiggins got paid by Minnesota, right? Number 1 pick by Cleveland. So we understood that because of how basketball contracts work, how the market works, you're worth X amount of dollars. So when you pay somebody, you're paying them on their upside, on what they can become, right? So Andrew Wiggins has always been a freak athletically, 6'8", long wingspan, jumps out the gym. He has all the characteristics to be a great defender, but he's really never been a great defender. He's always been mediocre because of his abilities. And finally, he got put into the right situation, right? He was traded for D'Angelo Russell, and they offered the first-round pick because at the time, nobody wanted Andrew Wiggins. Let's be honest. Nobody wanted him. He was a bad contract, one of the worst contracts ever. He goes to Golden State. Golden State, he's getting paid over $30 million. Like, let's not act like he's getting paid $10 million and like the Warriors found a gem. The Warriors, in a way, bought this championship because they're paying so much money in luxury tax, but they can do that, right? We're talking about Golden State, dynasty, etc. So when they say I took the risk, they didn't take no risk. They got a first-round pick, and they got an athletic wing that you now can put as your 4th option, your 3rd option, right, at best. So when we ask the question, can he make an impact on a different team? It truly, truly depends, because there's very few programs, very, very, very few organizations where the culture is right. And yesterday, I attended a meeting slash, there was a public speaker. I won't name him, but he was there to talk about how to grow your business strategically, 10 strategies, getting fast results. You might be able to look that up, Google that up, and his name's going to pop up because he's a very famous public speaker. And he talked about culture, on how to build your business. And literally, as I was listening to this guy, I was thinking to myself, my God, I know you're talking about business right now and how to, build something great, a multi-million-dollar business. But it sounded like the things he was saying, like the system he was talking about, that you could use that, apply that, and build yourself an NBA basketball team, a successful one. And as he was talking, I was thinking to myself, man, that sounds like Golden State, for all the positives. And then whenever he would bring up like a negative example, experience, that obviously businesses pay this man to go into their companies and evaluate them and give them feedback and really turn them around. And I was thinking like, damn, like the Kings really need that. And the biggest thing, the biggest word was culture. And culture is thrown around very loosely a lot. And, I'm not going to get super deep into it, but I was just astonished on if you have the right culture, which when you better understand what that truly means from top to bottom, when you start to empower people and not have that negative attitude towards, just do your job, or if you hire somebody with a great resume that has X, Y, and Z, but you have that person doing different things, which is what I've always referred to, even to a guy like Buddy Hield, right? Just the latest, the first thing that pops into my head. You have to truly set people up for success, depending on what their qualifications for a business or what their skill set is as a basketball player. And sometimes as a fan, you tend to overlook that and you tend to just slam a player. And I've been very keen on that. I'm guilty of that. Or sometimes we don't put enough blame on the player and we try to make excuses for that player, right? So when you talk about culture, just two glaring opposites, Golden State and Sacramento. One has a terrible culture. The other one has a great culture, which is why one of them is a dynasty and the other one is 16 years in a row without making the playoffs. So if you put Andrew Wiggins, like if the Kings would have traded for Andrew Wiggins from Minnesota, they don't maximize Andrew Wiggins from last night. There's just no way in hell that they can maximize that type of player in whatever they got going on. So culture without question matters more than ever. More than ever. And as I'm learning how to build a successful business and take it to the next level, you start to really use these analogies and apply these things to how can I give my audience a better understanding of how to build a proper NBA team. Now, a lot of people speak out of their ass and they be talking crazy. That's okay. We will continue to have those things like the talking heads on national media, right? Where you got Steph Curry going like this, referring to Allah, Kendrick Perkins, a clown, who sometimes there is no repercussions to saying certain things, right? And I get it. You're trying to sell news, like you're trying to sell ratings, so you got to say crazy things. But to me, you lose credibility. And my objective is to have the credibility so that people can trust things that I'm saying. And I'm not just talking out of my ass. And that I have a well-researched thesis and that I can give you real-life examples to why Andrew Wiggins would not work with the Kings. And as I refer to the Mike Brown hiring as okay, he needs to come in here and help them get off the ground. You know, people wanted a younger coach, you know, like a Coach Ham from the Lakers. That goes to what Monty potentially understanding how to build a business, how to build a basketball team, and having a veteran coach that has a proven track record to build a team from the bottom up, to build good habits, which the Kings have no good habits, a lot of bad habits, right? Those things are important, man. Mike Brown can get you off the ground. You may not, people want to talk about championships. There's no point in talking about championships when you can't even make the playoffs or even have success in the playoffs. Round 1, round 2, round 3. There's steps that people want to just skip over. It doesn't work that way. You got to build habits. You got to have a strong culture. You got to be able to empower people. And you have to put the right people in the right situations. Marvin Bagley being put into a ISO situation when he had no skills whatsoever to be in those situations, that is literally setting him up to fail. Whether he respects you enough to say, you know what, I'm not that good. I need to play my role and stay in my lane. I need to be maximized by being a law player and playing within the flow of the offense, not playing what I was at Duke, because at Duke, you know, everyone's not that good. Like, they're good players, but it's not the NBA. So having the understanding, the respect to accept your role, that's called culture. There was no culture. So it went both ways, right? Faults on both sides. But really, the fault was really on the Kings because they drafted the wrong player. They put a not very an underdeveloped prospect in the wrong situations, and they expected results. No, you can't expect results when that player is not that good and when you set him up to fail. The man can't go and use his right hand till this day. The man can't defend his own shadow. Like, you got to put these guys in the right situations to succeed. Period. But yes, Seabass, go ahead and call in. So to answer the links in the bio, to answer the question of the show, it's a maybe. And on most teams, Andrew Wiggins will not have the same impact because of culture, because of simplifying his role and maximizing his actual, abilities. Again, you have a paper, you see the qualifications, qualifications / resume, and you're like, okay, well, this guy can't shoot, this guy can defend, etc. If he can't shoot, why am I making him shoot the ball? You know what I'm saying? Like, just obviously, just to explain it in layman terms, those things are the things that make you a bad organization, and the Kings are guilty of that. So that's answering the question of the show, man. Again, shout out to Captain Crab and Elk Grove for sponsoring this episode of the CK Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. What's up, Hansy? Sub Leo? We're drafting Ivy or trade number 4. I say trade for a star and get a top 5 or 6. Well, you're not going to trade for a star and get 5 and 6. So you're either going to get a good role player and get 5 and 6. But let's talk about what Shaedon Sharpe said today, right? And if you guys don't follow on Instagram, make sure you do.
Great guys that can handle the ball. I feel like I'm a great scorer. Can score the ball as well as play defense, so I can help on both sides of the ball. Plus, I could get my teammates involved, find them when they're open, give them their little shine.
Give them their little shine.
On the defensive side, just locking up, switching, playing 1 through 5 with those guys. Just
play 1 through 5. And give his teammates their little shine. A direct quote from Shaedon Sharpe. Wow. Dude, you see me smiling now, but I could not stop laughing. When I first heard it, I was like, brother, this is gold. And it's funny because when you look at the comments, right? Low floor, high ceiling, whatever. Bro, for real, thinks he's going into the league and being the number 1 guy on the team immediately. People were laughing. He sounded very excited about joining the Kings. Is he stoned or what? I feel like he didn't even know the players we have on their names, hence deposit when he could have said their names. It seemed he didn't even know anyone on the roster either. Yeah, I don't want him anymore. He didn't name one player on the Kings. Kings to get players that have court vision, love to pass. He's going to be a bust. I'm avoiding this guy at all costs just by the way he talks. You can see Davion clubbing the hell out of him in camp. So, yeah, it's a funny situation, But let's listen to what Keegan Murray had to say yesterday about the Kings.
Sacramento, what do you think of that organization and their personnel?
Yeah, I feel like they're on the rise. They've completely got a new coaching staff with Mike Brown, who's coached a lot of great players, a lot of winning players. So I feel like they're a team that can turn it around. They've got a lot of veteran guys, really good, talented team. So I feel like they're headed in the right direction. It's just a matter of if and when they'll get there. So
yeah, like, what do you know about?
So at least this kid did a little bit of research and mentioned Mike Brown, right? A little bit better prepared. Let's just say that, even though people killed him for the ums and the ums and the ums, I don't really care about that, man. Can you hoop or can you not? Are you a hooper or are you not a hooper? Is the only thing I care about, because this team has had too many well-spoken guys that are nice guys and not enough dogs on this team. not enough assholes on this team. And you need those guys to be successful, believe it or not. Like, you need those hungry mother hovers to be like, yeah, I'm not doing what? You know what I'm saying? Like, that toughness that the Kings don't have. They're soft. They're a soft team with bad habits. Figure that one out. Figure that one out. Man should have gone to college. Maturity is important. I hope you guys get Keegan Murray. Oh, man. What's up, my brother? So, if anybody wants to join the live conversation, we can go ahead and talk. The link is in the bio. I will accept the call. Make it short and nice. Get the point across, and let's continue the conversation, really. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. When you learn about Keegan's story with him and his twin brother. Like I said, I care about, obviously character matters, obviously, but the Kings have had high character guys the last 5 years, very high character guys. And, let's talk about Justin Jackson, the highest of characters, right? Man of God. But he didn't really love basketball. And he wasn't very good. And it was on tape. Yet they proceeded with drafting him because he had a high character. Like, he was a good guy. And I was upset because you had a chance at Kuzma. You had a chance at OG. You had a chance at... Well, they traded number 10 to get 15 and 20. So you had a chance at Mitchell. I mean, you had a chance at Bam. You had a... like, just stab me already. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. But, man, culture matters. Culture matters, man. Without question. Let's talk about this make-believe trade as well. Right? And it was Kyle Kuzma and Josh Hart, number 7 and 10, going to the Kings. Right? Holiday, number 4. Rashawn Holmes going to the Wizards. And Bradley Beal going to the Blazers. Obviously not enough for the Wizards in my opinion. But that's a move that would be in the Kings' favor. Because if you get Kyle Kuzma and Josh Hart, 2 very good role players, with picks, that's a hell of a haul. You might have to add a guy like Davion Mitchell to the Wizards. And I think at that point, that completes the deal because you get Davion Mitchell, Rashawn Holmes, and the number 4 coveted pick that a lot of teams, according to Woj, so it's not just coming out of some random guy. These teams are seeking, Ivy. Like, they want Jaden Ivey. And there's a lot of smoke screens about him not wanting to go. Never came out of his mouth. Came out of random dudes' mouths, right? But that could have came from a GM using a reporter as leverage. You put that out there. You now put out this perception that, well, Sack doesn't want Ivy because of fit, which is garbage because that's not true. We've already seen on back-to-back drafts Monty McNair take the best player available, whether it's a point guard or not. He didn't care. He took back-to-back point guards. And guess what? He flipped one for Domantas Sabonis. So it came out pretty good. Like, you draft the best player available and you worry about that later. You let things fall into place. And it's never a bad thing to have an asset because you can always flip that asset. Assets are coveted in the NBA. Assets are coveted in life. That's how life works. So if you draft for fit and the guy isn't good, you're just like, damn, I screwed up. A lot. Marvin Bagley, right? So I think a Davion, Rashawn, number 4, Holiday, and then the rest of the, Beal going to the Blazers would be fun just because Beal and Dame would be just box office. And then number 10, 7, Kuzma and Josh Hart. That would be a strong, strong get. Josh Hart is that dude where it's like he's tough, he's an asshole. And he's just a very good basketball player. A very good basketball player. Right? So, that's that. Seabass says, I'll call in a minute. Let's wait for Seabass there then. Right? My boy said por supuesto. Let's look at what Vince had posted about Jaden Ivey.
And it's gonna take some games and improvement to get there. But I think just taking little steps towards being a better defender. I think that's gonna help me a lot.
Is there anyone you like to watch on that end of the floor and try to pick little things from?
Davion Mitchell. I actually got a chance to play against him, and he's legit, man. He's a legit two-way player, and just the intensity is God-given talent. The way he plays defense, and he hawks you on the ball, and they call him off night. Like, that's amazing, and he's just a great talent, and I just whenever I watch him, I just watch how intense he is on defense.
100%. 100%, man. If any player tries and emulates a guy like Davion Mitchell, you're on the right path. But if you truly put the work, and obviously, as you said, and as I've said in previous shows, it's truly a God-given talent to be able to play defense the way Davion does. You don't wake up on a random day or in 3 years and be like, I'm playing defense like Davion Mitchell. No, those are God-given abilities that you're born with. Like the way he moves his hips and has that low center of gravity and is just a rock and moves his feet. I've never seen it in my life. And I play basketball. I've watched basketball for a very long time. I've never seen anything like that. He's just a monster on ball. Like, on ball, he's just different. There's just nothing you can do about it if you're an offensive player. Like, you're going to have a tough time scoring. You're going to have a tough time scoring this dude. Like, he's going to make life difficult. Obviously, in the NBA, these guys are professional scorers. These guys get buckets in their sleep. From the best player to the worst player. Because the worst player is still better than 99.9% of humans. So just keep that in mind. Mitchell and Mitchell crime. Yeah, that, again, man, like, I don't know if there's been another player with so many defensive one-on-one highlights. Like, that's crazy. Who would you want from the Knicks if they want number 4? RJ Barrett. I'm not taking Julius Randle. Not with Sabonis. That would be the worst pairing in NBA history. 2 lefties who can't shoot, who can't defend, really. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Is exactly what you don't say. Sorry, I got sidetracked by watching the text on my laptop. I was saying that would be awesome from the idea someone just texted me, because a Sabonis and the Julius Randle would be terrible. If I take that clip, it'd be like, oh, he said it. He said it. He could have stayed on the Wolf Pack. On there, but not on the Kings. But Davion is solid defensively. Love him as a point of attack defender. And he's only going to get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, Davion's only going to get better. Like, he's already elite on ball. And obviously, he needs to work on his off the ball like everybody else does on the Kings. But when you truly watch the tape, how many times did whoever he was guarding, they would try to get him off of him and try to get switches because they were like, I'm not trying to go up against this dude, man. He's tough. And they would do that a lot. Like, they would do that a lot. That was part of the game. Like, they knew that if he was on you, it was going to be a long night. It was going to be an off night. That's just what he does. And when you exert that much energy, understanding that his jump shot is pure, like his mechanics are just so pure, right? And you're like, how the hell is that shot not falling in? It took him most of the season to really understand that it's not easy to be a two-way player at the highest level. He was that in college, right? He led his team to a national championship. He beat Gonzaga. Like, the great Gonzaga beat the shit out of that team. Him and Butler did. So it took him a while towards the last 12 games of the year where he just tore it up. I think he was averaging like 19 and 8 along with elite defense. So is that sustainable? He got better with the ball in his hands. He got a little bit better in the pick and roll, seeing the roll a lot better, making better decisions. Not being very tall has hurt him and will continue to hurt him. But if you're smart, like a Kyle Lowry, like these shorter type players, and you understand how to attack angles, you'll be fine. Because what you have defensively, nobody can replicate. Nobody can. Period. Uh-oh. Seabass is in the car. What's up, Seabass?
Yo, what's up?
How are you?
I just need to pull over for a second here. I'm parked.
Yeah, please. I don't want anything to happen to you. I'm not liable. Put the damn asterisk out there. I'm not liable if something happens to Seabass. Oh, man needs to pull over.
Something actually happened. I actually wrecked my car a few weeks ago.
Oh, fuck.
I know, tell me about it.
Pull the fuck over.
That was my first accident ever in my whole life. I've been driving for over a year.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're. Well, I'm glad you're okay, man.
Miraculously, I'm unscratched. It was pretty bad. Miraculously, I'm unscratched.
Thank God. Thank God for that.
Yeah. So but anyways, I'm not gonna talk about. Let me. Hold on. Can you hear and whoops? Can you hear and see me pretty well?
Yep.
Okay. Oh. Okay. There I am. I just don't look too attractive. Let me take my glasses off. At least you could see my eyes and mouth. But anyways, getting to basketball. I'm not going to talk about, my guy MB3 because that's opening a can of worms, right?
Did you hear what I had to say about that?
And what? No, I said I'm not going to talk about it because that would be an hour-long.
No, I know, but did you hear what I had to say about him like 15 minutes ago?
We're gonna have to have a talk about that another day.
Okay.
We're gonna put that on the agenda. But I just want to say I'm just gonna do like a 1-minute comment on the last series. The game 6, the last game yesterday was actually the only one of the 6 that I watched in its entirety. Mm-hmm. It was a pretty good game. But both teams are very good defensively. Mm-hmm. I would say Boston is basically. I'd say almost all their players are one-way defensive players. There's some good offensive players like Tatum and Brown, but here's the difference between the two teams in that, I was almost gonna crown Tatum like best player in the NBA for the season, but I'm not gonna do that via last game. that he didn't score. But the thing is with the Warriors, not only do they have experience, but they have offensive flow. They're not just defense and offense. They have team offense. They're passing and they're getting open shots and they're moving around and they know, I'm going to hit this guy here, I'm going to pass this here, and this guy's going to go open there. The Celtics didn't have and they don't have team offense like the Warriors have.
When they don't have Steph Curry.
Yeah, well, that too. But when they wanted to score, it was an individual effort. It was give the ball to Jaylen Brown, let him try to drive and score, or give it to Tatum, let him do. But there wasn't any team effort.
That's because they don't have a playmaker. That's because Marcus Smart. Yeah, that's because Marcus Smart's not a point guard.
Yeah, that too. But I want to also comment on that. But they didn't run any pick and rolls or anything like that. There was no team offense, team chemistry. It was too much, as you said with the Kings, sometimes just individuals trying to score. There was no team. So that's something that has to be developed there. But before I get to the Marcus Smart on the Tatum thing, I'm going to give Tatum some time though. He's still kind of young.
Too.
And he has a lot of talent. Like, I was super impressed on how well he played up until this series.
He's elite.
I was going to crown him the best. I was going to crown him the best player in the NBA until this series.
I don't blame you.
I took that back. But in some ways, it also reminds me of LeBron. Like, LeBron at the same age also had some immaturity and some things to do. But I do want to quote, I think it was Jalen Rose or Vince Carter, but they both said it. But I 100% agree with Jalen Rose when he said that Tatum's offensive game should start in the hoop. He should drive to the basket and then learn to develop an inside game and then work his way back out. I mean, Jalen Rose said that perfectly. And I think Vince Carter basically did the same thing. But I think that's what Tatum has to do. It's like, yeah, it was great that one game. I don't know what it was, 9 for 14 from threes, but he's not going to do that all the time. It's great that he could shoot the three, but he's got to develop an inside game. And going back to your comments, comparing, contrasting him and Luka, and if you switch the two, that Celtics would win. Well, Tatum's got to think to himself that he's got to be more like Luka. He's got to be a playmaker.
100%.
That team works if Tatum is the playmaker. I rather have a Marcus Smart, even though he's not a point guard offensively, like the one guy, Stephen Smith, says, Marcus Smart doesn't work because he's not like a Chris Paul or Rondo. Yes, I agree. And you know how much I love Chris Paul and Rondo. However, I also love a good defensive player. I think this is contingent not on Marcus Smart being more like Rondo or Chris Paul. This is more contingent on Tatum being more like a Luka. He's got to own up to that star role.
That's fair.
And be like, I'm going to make this offense.
I compared him to Luka. I said he's right there, and after last night's performance, people are starting to question themselves.
Yeah, he's got to be more like a Luka offensively. But at the same time, I'm going to give him a few years to see if he could develop that. Because I remember, LeBron James also had some, shall I say, fart out games, for lack of a better word, when he was young in the playoffs too, where they were, I think Boston, the Celtics, I can't think of, Garnett and Paul Pierce were saying, LeBron James, checked out of some playoff games. And I kind of feel like Tatum did like a checkout or something. That third quarter, we didn't even score a single point. So, but, he's young. I'm going to give him some time. So that's all I want to say. It was a good series, went both ways. And the Warriors are an interesting dynasty because 1 through 4, that's like the best 1 through 4 right now in basketball. I think they could improve in the center position. And what's interesting is that they have Poole and the Gary Payton guy up and coming. That's what a dynasty is, like the Spurs. Like, you have the vets that are doing really good, and Curry's 34, and these guys are getting a little older, but that you also have the up and comers. Wiggens, who's somewhere in the middle age wise, and then young guys like
Poole.
Gary Payton, and Poole coming up. That's a dynasty. That's a dynasty there. But anyways, that's all I got to say.
Appreciate you.
Short and sweet.
I appreciate you, Seabass. It was the most enlightened stuff you've said in a long time, man. So definitely appreciate that. Take care, man.
Although
Thank you
we're
for
gonna
calling.
have to talk about Bagley another day.
right,
Watch out!
brother.
Here come the Pistons. Here come the Pistons.
Hey, man, I like the Pistons.
You know how good Bagley. You know how good Bagley was at the end of class. What?
I love the Pistons. I just Bagley's just not that good. But we'll talk about it.
We'll debate that. But I'm gonna say if the Pistons sign Bagley and if Bagley is healthy, Cade and Bagley are gonna be a dynamite duo, and I think they'll make the playoffs. Yeah, if Bagley's healthy. If Bagley is healthy,
that's a big if, man. That's a huge if.
That is a big if. That is a big if. That is a big if.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you.
All right.
Good stuff there by Seabass. It's probably the most enlightened stuff he has said his entire life on the show. So shout out to Seabass. I'll put the link in the bio for people to call in as well. This Friday night is dedicated for you guys. I talked about culture. I talked about Andrew Wiggins potentially working or not working on a different team. My answer is a maybe. And it's a maybe close to a no because he wouldn't work on most teams because he wouldn't be the fourth best player, right? Or the fourth option. You know, however you want to disclose those details because his role was so simplified. The fact that he got so many open shots and he plays next to Steph Curry, it's just such a blessing for him, man. Like, it's such an advantage to be able to play in Golden State in the right culture. So that's how I feel about it. But is there a team out there that is willing to give up assets, being like, okay, well, I saw enough from Andrew Wiggins. I'm okay with paying him $30 million plus. I don't know. I know he played a hell of an NBA Finals, but if he becomes your second best player, or forbid him becoming first best player, you got issues, man. Like, you got big time issues. Kings are trading up for Jabari Chet. They won't even be the biggest move they make in the off season. Okay, RP. Vincent Chat says, what y'all think about Jeremy Grant and the 5th pick for the Kings number 4 pick? That truly is the move that I would make, right? Where it's probably like a Dante DiVincenzo or a Rashawn Holmes and the 4th pick to make salaries match. And then you get 5. So you get Jeremy Grant. They take Ivy more than likely. Then you take Keegan Murray. And now you go from being a team with one guy that's versatile, an HB that plays 3-4. Now you got 2 more guys. So that's a total of 3 guys, right? Jeremy Grant, Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes. It's a hell of a trio to have as your 3-4 combination. You now are a legit basketball team because you now found a legit starter in Jeremy Grant. You have a legit starter in Harrison Barnes. You bring Keegan off the bench. He gives you his minutes. Potentially with, being able to start all 3 of them because then you become a very big team. That would be nice, right? You take a page out of Toronto's book. That'd be nice. And you roll with it because he can shoot and spread the floor out. But that's down the road. You bringing them slowly, with not hella pressure, but just enough to be like, okay, well, you got to perform. You get an improved version of Davion Mitchell. You get a little bit better version of Sabonis in terms of shooting the basketball because he does everything else extremely well. And you get a better version of De'Aaron Fox shooting free throws and shooting the 3-point shot. Now, I'm not saying shoot 40%. I'm just saying, 36, 37 on like 7 attempts. That's winning basketball. But yes, I would love that. Or if it's Sadiq Bey, right? That's what Tyson said. So if it's Sadiq Bey as rather than Jeremy Grant, same thing. You have a starter in Sadiq Bey, on a cheaper deal, I would say, right? Because Jeremy gonna get paid, and you just go from there. But those are winning moves if you're the Kings. Or do you say F it? Ivy, I've studied Ivy. I have enough intel on Ivy. If you're the front office and you think he's going to be a star and you feel like he's going to impact your team from day one, then you got to take Ivy. But if you're not, like if you have question marks about him and you're Monty McNair, whose job's on the line, which again, me and Vince talked about this, like the Kings should come out and just extend him now because the perception is that he's making the move to win now. And perception matters, whether, optics matter, whether you like it or not. And he just signed his coach on a 4-year deal. It would be the right thing from an optics perspective to sign the man to a multi-year deal. That would be the smart thing to do. But the Kings, again, talking about culture, starting from the top, they're not very smart when it comes to these types of things. And it's crazy because Vivek is a world-class businessman who understands how to grow businesses and then sell them, right? It was like $2.4 billion or something like that he sold. Was it Tipco? Yeah, I think it was Tipco. And you're like, then why the hell can't you do the same here? Like, let the basketball people do their jobs because that's what you hire them for, and just get the hell out of the way. That's that simple. Every time someone quotes you or says, speculates, Vivek likes X player, it's, I said the other day, it doesn't matter, but the optics matter because it's just easy hanging fruit to just make fun and just poke fun. Oh, yeah, Vivek loves that guy. Whether or not it's true, you can't even question the randoms that talk about it because he's done it. Like, it's not crazy to just make it up and be like, well, Vivek said this. Like, okay, who's your source? Didn't matter. He probably said it. So, yes, optics matter. Optics matter. Would the Pistons give up Bey? I don't think they would. I think it's Jeremy Grant. Swing for the fences. First for Levine, Brad, or Spida, then look at the starting role players and trades. Yeah, I mean, I think we're on the same page in terms of priorities. Like, those are my three guys. Levine, Spida first, Brad second, Levine third. You try and negotiate for the fourth pick, and you add, whoever you got to add that's not named Sabonis or Fox, because then that would be counterintuitive. So you add those pieces that you do have, and you try to get one of these star players, star shooting guards. If that doesn't work out, then you go and you get the Jeremy Grant role player who's very good, who's an NBA starter, and you move back, but you still keep the asset and you still, draft a young asset that can be a contributor to your program, right? That's move number 2. Or move number 3 is literally just drafting Ivy. Like, okay, well, all 3 options are good options. And when I say the Kings are in a good situation because they moved from 7 to 4, that's a fact. They're in a very good situation because all 3 options will land you a good player. And by default, organically, you're going to become a better team. How much better is a real question. You can't really measure that right now. But in terms of talent, you're adding talent no matter what. No matter what option you choose. And that's what I love. And that's why I say the Kings are in a very good situation. Now, do the right thing, Vivek, and give Monty McNair, from an optics standpoint, the multi-year extension. It just makes sense. It makes sense from a credibility standpoint. It makes sense from a financial perspective. It makes sense for ease with your own fans. And it makes sense for ease for your GM who's making these decisions. Right? And that's the truth. Ivy looks really good. Does a lot that is going to translate into the NBA. He won't even be the focal point of an offense. Teams won't be ready. That's if they draft Ivy. Yeah, like I see Ivy contributing, but if, say, Oklahoma or Houston drafts him at 2 or 3, never know, probably not, but Banchero could fall. And then you're in business. Like, you drafting Banchero, right? I'm drafting a guy that could potentially score 18 points right off the bat. How is his defense? That's one of his glaring weaknesses. But if he's willing to become a better defender, then that's super important, right? And if we talk about culture and talk about Mike Brown changing programs defensively, he's coming to the right situation. And as Banchero said today, he's the best player in the draft. I'm not going to compare to Tatum, but the kid can score. And unlike Bagley, he can play right now and make an impact. Just by scoring the ball, by being a 3-level scorer, and being a high-level passer, which Bagley is not and never will be, and he can go left and right, which Bagley can't even go right 4 years into his career. So, that's that. But it's been fun. It's been a good Friday night, man. I think we've gone through a lot. Hell yeah, Banchero or any of the big three. The passing and playmaking will be insane for the Kings. Banchero first option. But yes, it's been a good time. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, man. Have a great Friday. We did it, y'all. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 5 straight days of podcasting, of live podcasting. Shout out to everybody who contributed, who left a comment, who joined the conversation, from my guests. Y'all the real MVPs. God bless you guys. The NBA is over. Well, the NBA season is over. But guess what? The offseason begins on Thursday. We're right back at it again. So, yeah. Most likely won't have a show tomorrow. Most likely won't have a show on Sunday. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday should be there. Should be a fun time. Bagley is not a scorer. So please don't say that. Like, he's not a scorer. He's not an isolation player. He's a player that can play in the system if they play make for him. Right? Then that's just a fact. He's not Banchero. A guy that gets you a bucket on all 3 levels. Off the dribble. That's a score to me. So your definitions are different. But yes. Z, what's up, man? Happy Father's Day, man. That's my first one, man. Appreciate you, Josh. My guy, Josh Cox. Thank you, guys. On behalf of the entire Basketball Zone Cowbell Kingdom family, I thank you guys, and I'll see you on Monday. Peace.